You're scrolling through social media and someone posts a screenshot of their investment account. 6 figures. And they're 27. Or you overhear a coworker mention they just maxed out their Roth IRA for the 3rd year in a row. And you're sitting there at 26 or 28 or 24, wondering if you've somehow missed steps that everyone else quietly completed. You have a vague sense that there are things you should have done by now. Financial milestones, benchmarks, checkpoints. But nobody ever gave you a clear list. Nobody sat you down and said, by 30, you need to have done X, Y, and Z. So you're guessing. And guessing in personal finance is how people end up 10 years behind. Here's what I want to offer you today. The actual milestones. Not the vague advice. Start saving early, but the specific, sequenced, numbered checkpoints that, if you hit them before 30, put you in a financial position that most Americans don't reach until their mid-40s. And here's the part that might surprise you. The milestones aren't as aggressive as you think. They're not have $500,000 saved or own a house. They're foundational, achievable, and each one builds on the last in a specific sequence that matters. Because hitting them out of order is almost as costly as not hitting them at all. My name is Max, and I want to help you learn how to make your money work more for you in your life. This channel is about giving you the specific roadmap that nobody gave you in school. The sequenced, practical, data-backed plan that turns your 20s from a decade of financial confusion into a decade of deliberate wealth building. If you want the roadmap, subscribe, because we map every stage of this journey. So, here's what most people believe about financial milestones in your 20s. Your 20s are for having fun. You'll get serious about money in your 30s. And look, I get it. Your 20s are for experiences, exploration, and figuring out who you are. I'm not here to tell you to lock yourself in a room and eat lentils until you're 30, but the I'll start later belief has a specific calculable cost, and the cost is brutal. Every year of investing you miss in your 20s costs you approximately $100,000 to $150,000 in your 60s. That's not a vague estimate. That's the compounding math on $400 to $500 per month at 8% over 35 to 40 years. Delaying from age 22 to age 30, the 8 years that I'll start later typically covers, costs roughly $400,000 to $700,000 in lifetime wealth. Your 20s aren't the warm-up act. They're the most valuable investing decade of your entire life. And the milestones I'm about to walk you through are how you capture that value. Think about the milestones like building a house. You can't install the kitchen before you pour the foundation. You can't frame the walls before you lay the concrete. Each step requires the previous step to be complete. And skipping steps creates structural problems that are expensive to fix later. The milestones aren't a checklist you can attack in any order. They're a construction sequence, and the order matters as much as the milestones themselves. But here's where it gets really interesting. The first milestone is the one that most people skip, and skipping it is why everything else collapses. Milestone 1. Build a functional emergency fund of $2,500 to $5,000. This should be complete by age 23 to 24, or within 1 to 2 years of starting your first full-time job. It sits in a high-yield savings account. It's not invested. It's not someday money. It's the structural foundation that prevents every other financial milestone from being derailed by the first unexpected expense. The psychology here is critical. Research on financial behavior shows that people without emergency funds are 3 to 4 times more likely to carry credit card debt, because every unexpected expense goes on a card. And credit card debt at 22% interest destroys wealth faster than almost any investment can build it. The emergency fund isn't exciting. It's not Instagram worthy, but it's the difference between building on concrete and building on sand. $2,500 to $5,000 at $200 to $400 per month takes roughly 6 to 24 months depending on income. Not glamorous, but it's the foundation that holds the rest. And here's a detail that most emergency fund advice misses. The emergency fund doesn't just protect you from emergencies. It protects your future milestones from emergencies. Without the emergency fund, a $1,200 car repair goes on a credit card. That credit card balance takes 4 months to pay off at 22% interest, during which you can't contribute to Milestone 2 debt elimination or Milestone 3 investing. One emergency without a fund can delay your entire milestone sequence by 6 months. The emergency fund isn't just a buffer, it's a sequence protector. Milestone 2, eliminate all high interest debt. This means any debt above 7 to 8% interest, credit cards, personal loans, some private student loans. Target completion, age 24 to 26. Here's why this comes before investing. Paying off a credit card at 22% interest is equivalent to earning a guaranteed 22% return on your money. No investment in the history of markets has reliably produced 22% annual returns. Every dollar you put toward high interest debt is the highest returning investment available to you. The math is unambiguous. High interest debt elimination comes before market investing. Now you might be thinking, what about my student loans? They're at 5 to 6%. Those don't fall in the high interest category. Federal student loans at 5 to 6% can coexist with investing. You make minimum payments and invest the surplus because the expected 8 to 10% market return exceeds the 5 to 6% interest rate. The milestone isn't be debt-free, it's be free of wealth-destroying debt. The distinction matters because waiting to invest until all debt is paid off can cost you years of compounding that you'll never recover. Milestone 3, establish an automated investment system. Target completion, age 25 to 26. This is the milestone that separates people who eventually build wealth from people who talk about eventually building wealth. The system has 3 components. First, an investment account, ideally a Roth IRA, if you qualify, plus your employer's 401k, at least up to the employer match. Second, a single investment selection, a total stock market index fund or a target date fund. Third, an automated monthly transfer from your checking account to your investment account on the day after payday. The specific amount matters less than the automation. $200 per month is better than $500 per month when I get around to it, because $200 automated actually happens and $500 manual rarely does. The median American who plans to start investing waits 3 to 5 years. The automated investor starts immediately and never stops. Milestone 4, reach $25,000 in invested assets. Target, age 27 to 29. $25,000 is the first meaningful wealth milestone, the point where your investment returns become large enough to notice. At 8%, $25,000 generates roughly $2,000 per year in returns, about $167 per month. That's an invisible contributor that's working for you 24/7, adding to your portfolio while you sleep, eat, work, and live. It's the first tangible evidence that the system works. And that evidence is psychologically transformative. Research on goal commitment shows that visible progress toward a goal dramatically increases the probability of continued effort. At $25,000, the progress is visible. Your quarterly statements show real returns. Not $12 or $30, but hundreds of dollars. And that visibility changes your relationship with the entire system from me, I hope this works, to I can see this working. The math to get there. If you automated $400 per month, starting at age 24, you'll cross $25,000 by approximately age 28, accounting for 8% average annual returns. If you started at 22 with even $250 per month and increased to $400 when your income grew, you might cross $25,000 by 26 or 27. And this is the part most people miss. Milestone 5, achieve a net worth at or above the median for your age group. For 25 to 29-year-olds, the median net worth is approximately $20,000 to $39,000, depending on exact age and data source. Target, by age 29 to 30. Now, if you've been following the first 4 milestones, emergency fund, debt elimination, automated investing, $25,000 invested, your net worth is likely already above the median. The emergency fund alone is $2,500 to $5,000. The investments are $25,000 or more. Your total net worth is approaching $30,000 to $35,000, even without counting any other assets. You're at or above the median simply by completing the sequence. This matters because being at the median by 30 puts you on a trajectory that accelerates dramatically in your 30s. The compounding curve you started in your 20s will generate more growth in your 30s than in your 20s, by a significant margin. Every dollar invested at 25 has 40 years to compound by 65. Every dollar invested at 30 has only 35 years. Those 5 years represent 25 to 30% more total growth. The foundation you built in your 20s is the most valuable financial asset you will ever own. Not because of its size, but because of its time. Let me make this concrete with one number that captures the entire value of the 20s decade. $25,000 invested by age 28, left untouched with no additional contributions, grows to approximately $340,000 by age 65 at 8%. That's $25,000 doing $315,000 worth of work, just by existing in the market for 37 years. Now imagine you kept contributing $500 per month from 28 to 65. The total portfolio reaches approximately $1,390,000. Of that, your contributions from age 28 onward were about $222,000. The remaining $1,168,000, 84% of your final wealth, was generated by returns, and the returns were largest on the money that had the most time, the $25,000 you invested in your 20s. Your 20s money is the foundation of your 60s wealth. It's not the biggest contribution, it's the most productive one, because time is the multiplier, and your 20s money has the most time. Milestone 6. And this is the one that changes everything. Negotiate your income to at least 30% above your starting salary. Target. By age 29 to 30. This isn't a savings milestone. It's an income milestone. And I include it because the single most impactful financial action in your 20s isn't cutting expenses or optimizing investments. It's increasing your income. Research consistently shows that one strategic job change produces a 10 to 20% salary increase, roughly 3 to 5 times more than an internal raise. 2 strategic job changes in your 20s can increase your income by 30 to 50%. If you started at $45,000 and reached $60,000 by age 30 through 2 job changes and 1 negotiated raise, that $15,000 increase, properly captured by your automated investment system, is worth approximately $700,000 in additional lifetime wealth. The income growth, not the spending cuts, is the highest leverage move of your 20s. And here's why this milestone is sequenced last. You need milestones 1 through 5 in place before you can fully leverage income growth. Without the emergency fund, a job change feels too risky. Without debt elimination, the higher income gets absorbed by payments. Without the automated system, the raise gets spent instead of invested. Without $25,000 invested, you don't have the psychological evidence that investing works. The first 5 milestones create the infrastructure that allows income growth to compound rather than evaporate. In that sense, milestone 6 is the capstone, the accelerant that only works when the system is already built. The specific strategies for income growth in your 20s deserve their own discussion, but the key insight is this. The average internal raise is 3 to 5%. The average raise from an external job change is 10 to 20%. Staying loyal to your first employer for your entire 20s is typically the most expensive career decision you can make. Not because the employer is bad, but because the market values movement more than tenure during this period of your career. 2 strategic moves, timed well with solid negotiation, can be worth more than a decade of annual raises. The person who has completed all 6 milestones by 30 looks like this. $5,000 emergency fund, zero high-interest debt, $25,000 or more invested in a diversified portfolio with automated contributions, net worth at or above the median, and an income trajectory that's 30% or more above their starting point. That person is positioned for explosive growth in their 30s, the decade where compounding shifts from helping to leading, and where the habits built in the 20s generate outsized returns. Here's what each milestone enables in daily life as you approach 30. The emergency fund means a $1,500 car repair doesn't go on a credit card. It's paid from reserves in 10 minutes with zero stress. The repair doesn't cascade into debt. The debt doesn't cascade into missed investment contributions. The chain is broken at the first link. The debt elimination means your monthly cash flow isn't consumed by payments for past purchases. Every dollar you earn is available for present needs and future investments. You're not working to pay off yesterday, you're working to build tomorrow. The automated system means investing happens without decisions, without willpower, and without the procrastination that kills most financial plans. The money moves, the portfolio grows, and you barely think about it, which is exactly the point. And the income growth means your investment contributions can increase without sacrificing quality of life. You earn more, you invest more, and you still live well. The dual compression that makes wealth building feel achievable rather than punishing. The career power of having these milestones in place is where everything accelerates. At 29 with $25,000 invested, zero high interest debt, and a growing income, you negotiate your next role with genuine confidence. You can walk away from a lowball offer. You can afford the gap between jobs. You can take the risk on the startup, the relocation, or the career pivot that someone without financial milestones can't afford to consider. And the compounding effect of better career decisions, the higher salary, the better role, the equity compensation, feeds back into the investment system, which compounds faster, which creates more financial security, which enables even bolder career moves. The flywheel that started with a $2,500 emergency fund is now spinning at full speed, generating wealth from multiple directions simultaneously. Now, I have to warn you about two traps that catch people approaching 30. Trap 1, milestone panic. If you're 28 and you haven't hit any of these milestones, the temptation is to try to hit all of them simultaneously. That's a recipe for burnout. The milestones are sequenced for a reason. Start with one, complete it, then move to the next. It's better to have the first 3 milestones solid at 31 than to have all 6 half completed at 30. The sequence matters more than the timeline. Trap 2, lifestyle inflation at 30. Turning 30 creates social pressure to upgrade. The nicer apartment, the new car, the lifestyle that signals I'm a real adult now. And every upgrade consumes the surplus that should be flowing into milestones 4, 5, and 6. The person who resists the 30th birthday upgrade and channels that money into investments will be so far ahead by 35 that no future upgrade could ever match the value. Here's the math on that. If you resist $400 per month in lifestyle inflation from age 30 to 35 and invest it instead, you'll have approximately $29,500 in additional investments by 35. That $29,500 left to compound at 8% until 60 becomes approximately $220,000. The 5-year upgrade you skipped was worth $220,000 in your 60s. That's the cost of looking like a real adult at 30, instead of building like a real adult at 30. So here's what I want you to take from this. Your 20s aren't a rehearsal. They're the foundation pour. The concrete is wet right now. The choices you make in the next 2 to 5 years determine the structural integrity of everything you'll build for the rest of your life. And the milestones aren't arbitrary goals. They're the specific, sequenced actions that transform a decade of earning into a lifetime of compounding. Emergency fund, debt elimination, automated system, $25,000 invested, median net worth, income growth, 6 milestones, 1 decade, and a financial position that most Americans won't reach until they're 45. You don't have to do them all this week. You have to start one today. And then the sequence carries you forward, because at 30, you'll either look back at your 20s and think, I built something, Or you'll look back and think, I spent a decade meaning to start. Build something. Start the sequence. And let the milestones stack. The foundation is everything. And the foundation is poured now.